friends, it's Teresa and welcome back to my channel. Today's video, if you guys can tell by the thumbnail, the title, is what happens when the wind messes up a good wash day. As you guys can tell, it is a reading vlog. I am going to be reading, finally, Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. I have been absolutely dreading this read. I have heard such mixed things, and I had such mixed feelings about the first book, which is King of Scars. The only reason I ended up giving it like, what, a 4 or something, was because of what happened at the end. And I'm gonna say this now, this is a sequel, so there will be lots of spoilers. So the only reason I gave it a 4 or even like a 5 out of 5 stars probably was a 4, I don't remember. The only reason I gave it that was because at the end, Zoya ended up becoming a dragon, and there was a huge plot twist at the end that I did not see coming, and I actually am hesitant about. I still don't know how I feel about it, and I read that back in like 2020. Again, I have heard such mixed feelings about it. I didn't even plan on reading the book, which is why I don't even have a physical copy that I'm holding up. I'm borrowing it from my library. The only reason that I am reading it is because Lisa, my good friend Lisa, was like, you need to read it and make a vlog so I can hear you rant, because she hated it that much. So let me just hop on Libby here really quickly. It's Sunday as I'm starting this vlog. I just got done going to Ulta and doing some errands on my own because my sister didn't join me today. I decided to kind of bite the bullet finally and buy Curlsmith's Hold Me Softly Balm. I've heard really good things about it for curly hair, for like wavy haired girls, and while I do really like, as you guys can tell, like, I do really like the results that I typically get from Cake Beauty, I feel like there's not enough grip, so my hair doesn't tend to stay like this very often. Like, this is a very good wash day. Like, I don't know if it's just like I changed how I style my hair, so I need to like adjust how much product I use, but for some reason, especially like these bottom layers, they just don't hold their curl that much. I heard that Curl Me Softly has like a nice grip, so we'll try that. Yeah, so I just borrowed it. I'll keep you guys updated once I start reading the book, probably tonight, before bed maybe. We'll see. I don't know. But if you guys like this content, y'all kind of know what to do. So just, you know, hit subscribe, hit like, all that fun stuff. But now I gotta go make lunch because every clock is saying 11, but it's currently 12. I also need to change my clocks. So it is still Sunday. I'm all ready for bed. It only feels like it's 10. Like, it's barely turning 10, but it's almost 11. Thank you, daylight savings. Although I can't be mad, I prefer spring forward. Even though we're not, I guess, in our real time. What is our actual time? We lose an hour because then it's lighter out. And the longer that the sun stays in the pretty little air, the longer I will be able to do things in my day and not feel like I have a ticking time bomb of a clock from when it is safe for me to enjoy the outdoors and, you know, do errands and do things on my own, to when it is scary and a shadow could mean my downfall. But I want to get you some update with my new Squishmallow. I got him on Friday, but we're just gonna update with him because he's soft and I like to hug him. His name is Tuxedo Sam. Appreciate him. But I am literally only on chapter 2, and can I just say, I'm tired of Leigh Bardugo creating a random character that I do not care about for the first chapter. I don't care. It's nothing of use to me. It just serves as a fancy prologue, and I wish at that point she would just title it Prologue, because that's how little meaning it actually has. And now I'm on chapter 2. I'm only on a couple pages in chapter 2, I believe. It's Nina's chapter, and I should be excited because Nina was one of my favorites in Six of Crows. Note the was. I don't know what it is about this duology, but I feel like she just doesn't, it's not even I feel, she just does not fit in this general narrative of her being back as a soldier. And quite frankly, it just does not suit her character. I think she had spent so much time being a thief and just not, like, you know, someone who would serve as a soldier, that it feels weird for her to go back under the pretense of just burying Matthias. And I feel like the duology has successfully managed to ruin her character for me. And I'm only on chapter 2, which sucks because I absolutely adored Nina in the Six of Crows duology. But she just sticks out here. Like, there's no, like, I can see how she ties in, but in terms of her character and just her overall like her character trying to fit in with the original I guess like Shadow and Bone character, she does not fit. And she doesn't fit in with the plot. Her character just doesn't seem right. And quite frankly, I'm so upset because I love Nina, and literally, but with this, I saw her title like on the first chapter and my eyes rolled. Like, I was sitting in church and I'm pretty sure my eyes rolled so hard God rolled his eyes. But I'm gonna get ready for bed, do some of my face stuff, and then I'm going to go ahead and chill out and read until it's time for bed. Also say hi to Nico, because he decided to hop up here. Nico! You don't care at me, but you know, he's a bit adorable. No, he's very focused. I think he can still smell, because I have the Feliway spray, or the generic version. It's supposed to like sends out calming pheromones. So like right before bed, I like spray it like in my room, on his bed, and like in the hallway. That way he like chills out over the night, because sometimes he just gets super hyper and freaks out all night. Bit of a very tired phone update for y'all. It's Monday. Reason why I'm very tired and not make-upped or not even done up, like just look alive at all, is because my lovely cat Nico decided that he was feeling daylight savings. I think I told you guys that my cat spent all day yesterday sleeping because they were up for a long time last night because of daylight savings, because we sprung over an hour. So he was up all night, and around like 1 he would wake up every other hour. Like, he'd go to bed after his hour of fiasco and then wake up after an hour later. So I got no sleep, but it's lunchtime. It's on a Monday. I'm reading the book and I just get so mad. Like, Zoya and Nikolai would be so cute, but there's so much shit overshadowing all of it, and I just get so mad. Last little update. They mentioned the Darkling for the first time since the book and the King of Scars ended, but he's not. There's no implication that he's with like Nikolai or Zoya or anything. I just have to know, did they just let a very powerful and frightening man who decimated an entire cities, and imprisoned and enslaved several Grisha, helped to hand in lots of their murders, he was reincarnated and they just let him la-di-da away? It is now Tuesday. Learned a couple things about myself. My undertone, most likely neutral. It's been years, and I mean years, since I started wearing makeup, of trying to figure out like, oh no, I have a warm undertone because I have yellowish, or no, I have a pink undertone because I have some pink redness here. It's neutral. It's neutral. How do you guys know? How did I find out? Lots of research. Lots of research. And also did a test finder on Ulta's app, which isn't the most accurate, I'm aware, but it's like the closest match I could get, so I'm assuming it's neutral. So we're just gonna do that. We're gonna try a new foundation. I've heard a lot of good things about it for oily skin, and yeah. But it's Tuesday. It's not bachelor night per se, because my roommate is dog sitting, so she is like across town, and I mean across town. So decided to save for the gas because the gas prices are scary. Boyfriend is still coming over. We're probably gonna watch a movie or try to find a new TV show to start. I don't know if I want to watch Turning Red with him, if I'm completely honest. He's already seen me sob hysterically because of Encanto. So I don't want him to see that. But I didn't get a chance to read today, and you guys are probably wondering, Therese, if you're not updating, then why are you here? Well, you see, my neighbor, as you can probably hear, seems to have a sixth sense of when I'm gonna hop in the shower, because he hopped in the shower, and I genuinely can't tell, if they have like their own water heater or not. So I'm pretty sure we share a water heater, which means I get cold water and I like taking warm showers. So I did the normal thing, and I turned on my shower while he was taking a shower, put it all the way to the hot setting until it warmed up for a bit, and then proceeded to vlog. I turned it off now, so we're not wasting that much water, but I'm now vlogging because I am annoyed. Hey friends, it is now Wednesday. I just got home, just threw the trash. I have to replace stuff, but I was gonna film my video for Friday today because I didn't get a chance to film it on Monday because I woke up absolutely exhausted from the time change. And then I hit about 3 p.m. I pulled up my Notion to make sure like I had everything I needed, and I just got super lazy and decided not to do it. I think it's just the time change. I'm still feeling like not exhausted, but definitely in a mood where I don't want to do more talking than I have to. And to boot, it's gorgeous outside. Like this is natural lighting. It's been so long since I've had this kind of natural lighting. And thankfully the Senate just passed a bill. This has to go through everything, but they passed a bill where daylight savings, which is the time that we're in now, would be permanent, which means we get this kind of sunlight day in, day out, which is exactly what I need for my depression. Like I feel so much more like less out of my head and less foggy with this weather. Outfit possibilities are a little bit more endless because the sunshine is out, and if it's like this at 5 p.m. I can go get gas, I can go to the store, I can do so many things before it gets dark. But I did read, I'm not just updating y'all random shit for no absolute reason. I did get a chance to read today while I was on my lunch. Sorry, I'm setting things on my bed because my bed is a current mess, but I digress. I did read the book, very thankful for that. And I have to say, it doesn't read like a Shadow and Bone book, it doesn't read like a Six of Crows book. It feels like she tried to merge the two vibes together, and those two vibes do not mesh at all. Shadow and Bone had life-altering stakes on top of a love triangle, love square if you will, and Six of Crows had familial bonds, and while still high stakes, it wasn't on a global level. So it feels like she's trying to mesh the two together with Nina's storyline plus Nikolai and Zoya's storyline, and it's just not working. It's just not working. They have the Darkling trapped in a dome-like prison, I guess is how I'm picturing it, where it's all made of glass and there's no shadows, so he can't manipulate anything, but he doesn't have any powers anyway because he's in a different body, and he's trying to possess Nikolai / the demon in Nikolai's body. Zoya is a dragon that has one of the saints in her head talking to her. Let's see what I wrote here because I was ranting. On top of that, we have mini sun summoners. I know they popped up at the end of the third book because I had to Google it. After Alina loses her powers, it's somehow bestowed on other people. It's not to the same grandeur or scale as Alina, but it's there. But then, in that same vein, why didn't we get mini shadow summoners? Because with the Darkling gone, it would we're thinking like Jedi kind of powers here. You have to have one of the other in order for the world to be balanced. You can't have like one in the dark side and one in the good side, or like only one in the dark side or only one in the good side, because then things are unbalanced. You have to have like yin and yang. So that would make sense, but there is none. But somehow there are sun summoners, which I feel like completely loses the point in the fact that Alina and the Darkling are one and the same, that they are two separate entities that are the only ones of this earth, and that's why they're so drawn to each other and why the Darkling has an obsession with her. So it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. And now the Darkling is asking to see, this is definitely like just a Darkling wanting to like try to murder her, but he wants to see Alina to apologize to her, which I feel like if it does happen, it completely retcons the idea that Alina and Mal are left alone for the rest of their lives in the epilogue. Like in the epilogue, it's basically stated that they are left alone, no one touches them, no one fucks with them. The only thing is that she gets these beautiful gifts from random people that no one understands, but they are left alone until they die. Oh, and then to boot, Nina uses her powers to save a prince that I'm assuming Han tried to poison in front of the entire Fjerdan court, but covers it up as praying. But from what I have seen on the show, the concept of a heart render adjusting things is very like visual. It's not like it doesn't just come in like a silent gust of wind. Like it's very like she's like always like holding her hand over her chest, always like having to touch Matthias or whomever she's fucking with. So it doesn't seem proper to me. It seems weird. It reads like fan fiction, and not even like, not to say that fan fiction is bad. I love fan fiction. In fact, I'm very addicted to a TikTok fan fiction of Steve Rogers as we speak. But it just reads like fan fiction in the sense that there are too many things happening. There are too many, not even plot points, but there are too many. No. It's not even that. It reads as fan fiction in the sense that it doesn't read like the original copy. Like, there are too many things that she's trying to incorporate and change and move around and adjust so it fits, that we're losing the essence of what Nina's character is, or what the Shadow and Bone series was about. I am probably gonna go take a shower right now to relax a little bit because I'm not filming today. I'm probably just gonna work on my Notion for my story, read with the windows open. I'll have some b-roll for y'all, and probably just enjoy this afternoon. Like, I don't think I'm gonna go out because our chairs are still dirty and I don't feel like going up. I just want to, like, you know, just enjoy this light and like recharge a little bit, because I'm having a lot of like, maybe journal, because I'm having a lot of like epiphanies about like my mental health and my state and like all that stuff. So I'm just gonna bask in this sunlight and just enjoy it. Forgot to film b-roll because I had a nice lovely like existential crisis about my future and job hunting, and took precedence. But I am on a chapter 12. You can't see that, probably messing up my blue light, but I am on chapter 12, and they're contacting Alina, and I just have to say, like, I'm not the biggest Alina fan. I truly am not. Like, on the list of characters that I love, she was probably like 4th, maybe top 10, like number 10. But like, homegirl has been through enough. Leave her alone. Like, the TV show definitely has like me giving Alina a lot more sympathy than I did reading through the books, just because Alina in the TV show is a little bit like, not resilient, because they're both resilient, but definitely was a bit more aggressive, I should say, in her attempts to do a lot of things. Alina in the books, I felt like let a lot of things just kind of happen to her. But leave the girl alone. Leave her alone. Like, she's been through so much. And people are like, yeah, we have to. And I'm like, no, you don't. You could just get like someone like a tailor and just make him look like Alina. It's fine. It's fine. As I read, it does read like a fan fiction. There are so many things that are fan service, but the one thing, the shining light, the shining star, the northern star, the bright light at the end of this tunnel, is Zoya's character development. I feel like that's the one thing that I wanted to see a lot more of in the original trilogy, just because she had so much potential and we didn't get really to see that, and now we see it. And now that we see it, it feels like it's the most natural thing out of this entire duology, is Zoya's development as a character, and then her budding romance with Nikolai. That's all I have to say. Like, Lee had such a good basis. Everyone wanted more from Shadow and Bone, everyone wanted more from Six of Crows, but she didn't want to continue on with this, with either the trilogy or the duology. She could have created an entire universe like the Shadowhunters, and everyone would just keep buying it. But no, she decided to continue on with arguably her weakest trilogy, but then throw in some aspects from her strongest duology, and it's just it's such a sour taste in my mouth. I don't even want Six of Crows 3 anymore. Last update for the day. So they met Alina. If you knew that it was coming, and you know, I clap your hand. Actually, I didn't see it coming. Basically, the Darkling was like there. I guess he like touched Alina, and because hold on, let me just pull it up on my Kindle because I was very confused as to what happened. Basically, the Darkling used Alina and Mal as conduits, I guess, or what's the word? The thing. As an amplifier, basically, to unleash his powers and plunge them into darkness. I feel like at that point, standing at like across from each other probably would have been not great. They should have done like COVID regulations like 6 feet away, just so he would have had to sprint. It's fine, but my Kindle's now charging. I'm gonna probably eat dinner in a little bit, like a little bit of dinner. I'm kind of nauseous, but yeah, I'll update you guys tomorrow if anything else interesting happened that I would like, but I don't. Alrighty, it is Thursday. Bit of a phone update while I sit in my car and chill, so I'm not at my desk. I just finished, was it chapter 15? 18. Chapter 18. I swear. If David dies, I swear, I will never read another Leigh Bardugo book again. I will unhaul all of her books if David dies. I swear. Y'all did not prepare me for this. None of y'all prepared me for this. I was not prepared for this. I will never forgive anyone if David dies. So can we talk about how painfully calm Alina and Mal were when the Darkling came back full power? They're like, yeah, we'll be fine. Like, our lives have always been kind of this messy. We'll be fine. And they're like, it's the Darkling. And they're like, yeah, we can't like uproot the children's lives anymore. And there's like, it's the Darkling. And she's like, we have rifles. The Darkling has the cut. And your way to fight him, should he come find you, is a fucking rifle. Really, David's dead. David is dead. I didn't think a book could single-handedly ruin an entire universe for me, but it did. He had a journal of all the ways that can make you happy, Jenya. He's dead. He's dead. Zoya made a garden for all of her friends. And she goes, I'm running out. All of her dead friends, like the Grisha that died, and she goes, I'm running out of room. I'm now at home. I have Age of Ultron in the background. I'm reading through the book. I'm probably going to try to finish this tonight. Kaz. That is all. And the fact that Kaz would protect Inej, and Inej is stopping all of the slaveful. And now Jesper and Wylan, and the fact that when Jesper answers the door for Kaz, he's like, I'm not supposed to let you in. Why not? Because every time I do, you ask me to break the law. And then behind him, Wylan goes, the problem isn't that he asked, it's that you always say yes. Okay, I'm now on chapter 30. Another thing that I'm realizing that I'm not the biggest fan of is that all the big events are finding ways to wrap themselves up. Like Nina gets caught by Juran, who is Prince Rasmus's, the Fjerdan prince's guard, but he prays to the saints, so he doesn't tell on her, and she doesn't tell on him. Tamar is in Shu right now, and she ends up getting injected with Parem, but the person who is holding her down while she's like convulsing gets stopped, so she manages to eat the antidote and stop it. And then like the late queen of the Shu comes down and rescinds her blessing, no longer making Maki the Shu Queen, so then that they can stop the Kagurd from continuing on and being experimented on. And I'm just like, everything is happening, like plot points are being introduced and then being resolved super quickly and super neatly, and I'm just not a fan of it. It reads like a fan fiction. Hey friends, it is now Friday. My bathroom is clean, my bed is nearly made, and I'm holding my bubbles from childhood. I also finished the book last night. 2 out of 5 stars. Literally the only reason I gave it a 2 was because Zoya's character development was amazing. We love that for her. And we got to see the crows. I guess it was like entertaining to read. It was like watching a car crash or passing by a car crash. You just kind of have to keep looking until you were past it. There were a lot of issues. Let's finish up my problems with the Nina storyline. So Nina's storyline ends up super, I guess, like happy for Nina. She ends up being engaged to Han Brum, who is Jarl Brum's daughter, and she forever will be staying as Mila and not Nina, because Han accidentally kills Prince Rasmus, who is the Prince of Fjerda, tailors herself to look like him, and tailors his body to look like her. And then, so they're like, we can make a better Fjerda with this. And then Nina was like, are you sure you're not gonna miss how you look? Like, you grew up with that face. And Han was very much like, there's a rightness in this body. And I have issues with that implication. Hear me out before y'all click away and you're like, oh no, phobic. It was not hinted at, nor was it mentioned in the previous book or throughout the second book that Han was somewhere either trans, genderqueer, non-conforming, or non-binary, like within that spectrum. And it just felt like a throwaway. It felt like Lee was trying to add something, or it was something that popped into her head at the last minute and was like, let's just throw this in. And if you're gonna do representation of any kind, whether it be BIPOC, neurotypical, disabled, however you may have. And I'm saying this because Lee's descriptions of like BIPOC characters thus far have always been very upfront. Same thing with LGBT characters and characters with disabilities. Like, we see those very upfront. I've always pictured Zoya as South Asian. I've always known Kaz is disabled. All that stuff. Like, she's been very obvious about her representation. So to me, this feels like a throwaway because, like I said, she's been a pretty inclusive writer up until this point, and it just feels like a throwaway. Like, either you include the trans rep in its entirety and you start from the beginning of Han figuring out her identity or implying that she is uncomfortable in this feminine presenting body, or you just don't include it at all. Because to include it at like literally the last chapter for Nina was not there. Nor do I like the idea of Nina not being Nina anymore. I think she will not be there for Six of Crows 3 should that happen, because she will be in Fjerda. Like, I know people were like, Lee was kind of annoyed at the fans for saying that Nina should die because she could be with Matthias, but she wanted Nina to live a full and happy life. And then continues to make Nina in a position where she always has to keep her cover, cannot fully be herself, cannot fully be a Grisha or show that she is Grecian because of this idea, and then puts her in a relationship directly after Matthias's murder, something of which she is clearly not over, even until the end of the book. A smack in the face to Nina to have to like leave her in this lifestyle, especially given the fact that she had such strong bonds with Inej. She always thought about Inej, and Zoya made a point in the entire duology about her relationship with Nina and how she was always worried and how she shouldn't have gone back in the field, and etc, etc. Moving on to the Darkling's like weird redemption. So basically at the end of the book, the Darkling comes in and is like, you know, all I've wanted for Ravka, for the Grisha, is to make it safer for the Grisha, and I have not done that. And then he's like, I will take the fold onto myself and let the fold like torture me for the rest of eternity or however long I live. But all I ask is that you make a shrine or an altar. And they're like, okay, fine, we can give it to you. Like, he was built up to be a super big badass, like big bad guy. In the first trilogy, he was set to have been a representation of Lee's own abusive relationship. So like, clearly there's like evil intent with everything he does, and there's nothing pure or kind about him. So I don't get why she gave him this really piss poor redemption. I love the Darkling because he is just pure evil. He is a man who had good intentions at the beginning, who wanted to make this world a better place, but then lost it along the way. And that was my favorite thing about him. because I love a good fall from grace hero or attempted hero turned villain. So they gave him this really weird redemption, which I don't agree with. Either he goes out in a blaze of glory, very much like, I guess, like Darth Vader, like Kylo Ren style, where he's like jumps in to help save the bad guys, and then dies, and everyone who was abused by him can kind of like sigh relief while also giving the Darkling what he wants, or nothing else. But there was no build up to his redemption. He was described as this bad guy. He was set up to be this bad guy at the end of the first book and throughout the second book, and then you give him this piss poor redemption. For what reason? And it's not even like I'm against his redemption, like give him a redemption if you feel like that's the way to go. But at the end of it, to boot, I feel like you should have also just sat there and progressed his character, because there was no progression in his character. There was never a click in his head that was like, this is the only way I can actually help Ravka, this is the only way I can do what I set out to do. And he didn't regret anything he did, which is fine, he's still a villain. But I don't get that whole point. But like not even like 10 chapters after this event happened, Zoya brings in Genya and Alina, have an issue with this scene as well, where she's like, okay, so I get that he has traumatized all of us. I get that we can allow him to suffer and to suffer and suffer and suffer until however long. But I think we should let him die. And they're like, what? And she's like, I don't think if we start deciding who gets punished and who lives and who dies, how are we any better than him? Which I get it. I do. But like, I would just like people who have been traumatized, not so much to like, I don't say forgive, or like let them be angry, let them be happy that he is going to be stuck in this form of torture and not have to take the moral high ground. Why does Zoya, Genya, and Alina have to take the moral high ground and be like, okay, he doesn't deserve that? Neither did they. Why couldn't they just like let him be tortured? And then someone else in coming generations can be like, okay, we can let him go now. And to boot, I didn't like that scene, not because I don't think, not only because I don't think that like they should have had to have taken the moral high ground. Like I don't like the idea of having our people who have been through significant abuse and trauma to have to always be the bigger person. I also think that there should have been more people included, because like, yes, Zoya, Alina, and Genya kind of got the brunt of the Darklings, like abuse and manipulation, but there were other people involved who also suffered the ramifications of this. Like Audric lost his arm, Mal literally died, Nikolai became a monster and now has it trapped to his body forever. Then the list kind of goes on. So I don't think it should have just been those three. I think it should have been a council of people, because it's not their, it wasn't just their trauma, you know? Not try to compare traumas or anything, but like in the sense that it wasn't just those three that suffered under his hands. And I don't know, if I had been like one of those people who had like suffered through the war, lost a limb, became a monster quite literally, and tortured, I think I would have been really angry to have known that they made a decision for us. So I think that Lee should just like at this point leave the entire universe alone. I think she has written a good trilogy, or like a good like set of 7 books. But if she had written like how Cassie Clare wrote her trilogy, her like series or verse universe, I suppose, where it's all set in the same area but it follows different characters, and they all do connect but they don't connect frequently, I think that would have been better. But we see this blending way too often, and I think we lost what made Shadow and Bone Shadow and Bone, and what makes Six of Crows Six of Crows. I'm just like, it ruined the universe for me. Like, I don't know how, but it did. It didn't feel like it belonged anywhere, and it felt like there was so much fan service and just so much attempts to please everyone that it didn't feel right. And it just kind of leaves like Shadow and Bone like have a sour taste in my mouth, and leaves Six of Crows having a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I don't know. But yeah, 2 out of 5. Kind of glad I didn't buy this book. I think I might end up unhauling King of Scars actually, just to erase the thought from my mind and just scrub it out. That is it for this vlog. If you guys enjoyed it, let me know in the comments below. I do plan on having monthly vlogs. I don't know if I'll ever do weekly unless it's like a readathon or something I plan, but I will have a vlog once a month. So I'm back to that. So if you guys enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, hopefully none of y'all pick up Rule of Wolves in the future. Ever. Bye.